Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 4, or, Sparking Zero. One of the most anticipated games coming up this year, next year. Not really too sure on the release date, but we're going to be getting it very soon. And obviously, I'm extremely hyped. I'm sure a lot of you guys are hyped as well. There's a lot of factors playing into that, but the main reason we're excited for this game, I mean, come on, let's not lie here. It's the humongous roster. The fighting mechanics are amazing, and I love being told the full Dragon Ball story for like the millionth time in a Dragon Ball video game, but the roster is the main thing we're looking for here. Obviously, Budokai Tenkaichi 3 had an insane amount of characters, especially for the time, without any DLC. So that now, I guess we kind of have it confirmed, we're going to be getting over 160 characters just in the base roster, not even including DLC. We got some pretty high expectations for the characters we're going to get. So I wanted to take a video going over the top 5 characters I want to see the most in Sparking Zero. And before we get into it, make sure you let me know in the comments what characters you would want to see. And yeah, let's get right into it. So first up, we have Farmer with Shotgun. Now, I know a lot of people are probably going to think I'm joking here. And yeah, I mean, I mainly added him as a joke. But think about it. We don't have Farmer with Shotgun in any Dragon Ball game as a playable character. I mean, come on, you know how, like, Dragon Ball likes to lean into, like, gags and jokes a lot. I mean, hell, we got, like, Ariel as a character. I think we deserve Farmer with Shotgun. It's his time. He needs to shine. He's got a power level of, like, what, 5? Dude, he's going to destroy everyone with that. With his shotgun and cigarette, yeah, ain't nobody going to stand up to him. So getting him in the roster, I think, would just be funny. And, I mean, it's time, right? We need some Farmer with Shotgun representation. Again, never had him in a Dragon Ball fighting game as a playable character, which for some time was understandable, but, we've had too many Dragon Ball games for that still to be the case. So Sparking Zero, give me Farmer with Shotgun, and then I'll be happy. But in a more serious note, next up, we've got GT Vegeta. So more specifically, I'm talking about base GT Vegeta, and then I guess Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2 GT Vegeta, because while we got Super Saiyan 4 GT Vegeta in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, we were noticeably missing just a base GT Vegeta, so obviously getting that in Sparking Zero would make a lot of sense. Now, I don't know if he ever specified that he went Super Saiyan 2 in GT, but I would assume he did, because that would be his most powerful transformation, obviously not including Super Saiyan 4, which he didn't get until the last arc. So getting Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2 as a transformation would make sense, and it's not like there's much of a difference between the two transformations, so I think it's very easy to just tack both of those along the base GT Vegeta. Now, of course, that does start to get into other territories, like are we getting GT in the base roster? For the sake of the video, I'm just going to assume we are, but if not, then I guess GT Vegeta would just be another good character to have as a DLC. Or maybe if they want to just give us like the most surface level GT characters like Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, Omega Shenron, and then Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and then dive more into GT as a DLC, then getting, base GT Vegeta, the Kid Goku, maybe like Pan, we could have like Teen Goten, Teen Trunks, and all that. Although honestly, if we just get them from Superhero, they could probably just do like an alternative costume and then have the GT variants for like Goten and then obviously Trunks, but that's a whole nother video. So GT Vegeta I think would be really good in the base roster, just because again, that's someone we didn't get in Budokai Tenkaichi 3 for some very weird reason, because we got Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, so then adding him in Sparking Zero would kind of make up for that. Now next up, we got Android 21. So Android 21 is canon, as we saw in Dragon Ball Super Superhero. She's definitely in the main timeline of the Dragon Ball events, but technically she doesn't really serve any importance in the lore, so I wouldn't really be surprised if we didn't see her. But I think from what we saw from her, obviously in Fighters, and then hell, we even had her added in Xenoverse. I mean, come on, just add her in Sparking Zero. The whole thing of Sparking Zero is how many characters are going to be in the game, so just tacking on a character like this, who again, technically is canon, I think would make a lot of sense and would just make the roster feel a little bit better. And then, you just give her one transformation into Majin 21 or whatever that's called, and then she's kind of set. You don't have to give her any crazy moves that she has from Fighters. I'd honestly be satisfied with maybe just like a Majin Kamehameha, and then maybe like turning the enemy into candy. But I mean, Boo's probably gonna have that. So you could basically just copy and paste a lot of the moves she would have from other characters, and then bam, she's set. So all you really have to do that would be unique to her would just be her character model. So I definitely think Android 21 would be extremely easy to add into the game, and something I'd like to see, if not in the base roster, eventually as a DLC. Which could be a little tricky, having her as a DLC, because I don't really know what you'd do. I mean, I guess you could do like a Majin theme, maybe for the game, if we only get like Fat Boo, I guess Super Boo and Kid Boo, and then you could add Boo Piccolo, you could add Boo Tanks, you could add Boo Gohan Absorb, and then I guess Android 21 as like a Majin theme. Or hell, you could do like a crossover DLC pack where you get like 21, we can get Shallot, Giblet, I don't know, maybe some Heroes characters, like just crossing over from other games. I think that would be a really good idea. And especially someone like Shallot, you know, a lot of people want them in something like Xenoverse or like a Sparking Zero now. So that would be a really good way to introduce him into the game. But anyway, moving back on to 21. Yeah, she would make sense to be added into the roster because, again, she is canon. I think it would only add to the craziness of the roster. Now, next up, we got Oob. So Oob is kind of in the same boat as 21. Kind of, because Oob obviously is canon. We know he exists, but he plays no important role whatsoever in any of the stories. Now, in the Moro arc, he does kind of play a role at the end, but I doubt they're going to be going into the manga stuff right now. So, for the sake of the video, let's just assume that Oob pretty much has nothing to do with any of the story. But, you know, he does exist technically, and he is a really popular character, so I think it would make sense for him to be added. Because, of course, he was in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, so then for them to add him in that game, but then not in the sequel to that game, would just feel a little weird to me. Now, again, there's a lot of things they could do with maybe a GT DLC pack, but we'll just assume we're going to be getting some GT stuff in the base roster. So I think having Oob as obviously one of those characters would make a lot of sense. Realistically, you don't have to give him too many unique things. I guess just give him a transformation into Majin Oob, or like an absorption, however they'd want to handle that. And then you could copy and paste a lot of moves from Fat Boo. And then you're pretty much set. I'd say just give him a very similar moveset to what he had in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, which a lot of the moves he had were copy and pasted stuff, obviously. So not really that big of a deal if they don't have too much uniqueness to this character. But just having him in the roster, I think would be a very good addition. Because obviously, Oob is going to play a major part in, you know, Dragon Ball Super going forward. So I think having him in this game to introduce a lot more people to him as a character would really do nothing but benefit Dragon Ball in general. So that's why he is number 4 on this list. But moving on, finally, the last characters I want in the base roster. We've got the Dragon Ball Super superhero characters. Now, obviously, this isn't just one character, but I mean, come on. We need the Dragon Ball Super superhero characters in the base roster. I did a video on this previously. We're getting the Broly movie, so we might as well get the movie that came out like, what, a year or two after that? Because the movie's been out for a couple years at this point, superhero I'm talking about, and it would only make sense for them to add him in the base roster. So I think for pretty much any Dragon Ball game from here forward, we just should get it in the base game, the superhero stuff. And of course, I guess, just to be more specific, I'd be referring to a new Gohan. So I guess the Gohan would have Super Saiyan Ultimate and then Beast. And then Piccolo, Power Awakening Piccolo, Orange Piccolo, Gamma 1, Gamma 2. Maybe a Kid Pan, and then Cell Max. Cell Max isn't really far out there because, of course, we have giant characters. So it would make sense to get yet another one. Which also, that's one of the points I used in my other video. If we're introducing giant characters into the game, it wouldn't really make much sense to only have, like, what, Great Ape Kid Goku and then Great Ape Vegeta, because those would be the only two characters that are really important that are giant characters. So it would make sense that maybe we get, like, Cell Max, we could get some of the movie characters like Hirudegan, Janemba, maybe even like a Metal Cooler Core or something like that. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is a lot of giant characters would be really good to have in the base roster instead of just a few of the Great Ape characters, who, don't get me wrong, would be really fun as long as they keep a somewhat similar mechanic to how they were in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, but it would definitely be very underwhelming if we only had 2 giant characters in the game. So I think having someone like Cell Max and, like I mentioned, a Hirudegan, maybe a Janemba, and a couple other giant characters would make it feel a lot more important. So that's why I think the superhero characters in the base roster would make sense and would definitely just serve to benefit the game overall. Alright, so that has been the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, let me know in the comments what characters you want to see in the base roster of Sparking Zero, or what characters you want to see added in DLC packs. I think the DLC packs are kind of set in stone. I mean, obviously Dragon Ball Daima would be a DLC pack. If we don't get GT in the base roster, that would be a DLC pack. I guess same to be said with like the Z movies, and then same to be said with superhero. But again, man, we need them superhero characters in the base roster. The movie's been out for 2 years. So it's been out for too damn long for them to just be DLCs. I don't know. That would feel kind of dirty in my opinion, but we'll see what they do, right? I mean, we really are just playing the waiting game right now. So once again, that has been the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you all in the next one.